Hey guys, Dimension Master Studios here. How y'all doing? So I'm sure as you guys know, when it comes to Skybound, this season overall is pretty divisive when it comes to the Ninjago fanbase. There's a lot of people who really like Skybound, but there's also a lot of people who don't like Skybound that much. But for me personally, I honestly really enjoy Skybound, and it's honestly one of my favorite seasons in all of Ninjago. That being said, though, I do definitely get why not everyone likes the season that much, and I can understand where a lot of people are coming from when it comes to certain criticisms when it comes to the season, and I understand why people wouldn't like certain aspects of the season, like the time travel ending or the handling of certain characters like Ronin and Dareth. However, there's one piece of criticism that I've seen Skybound get that I personally have never really understood, and it's a piece of criticism that revolves around Nauticon and the Jin Blade. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about this piece of criticism for Skybound, and I wanted to explain why personally I've never really understood this. So, let's get into this whole thing. So you're probably wondering, what exactly is this piece of criticism that I'm referring to? Well, when it comes to Skybound, something that we see happen all throughout the events of the season is Nauticon trapping the ninja inside of the Sword of Souls all throughout the events of Skybound, usually with the ninja making wishes and Nauticon granting those wishes, until eventually the ninja end up making a wish to wish it all away, and Nauticon ends up trapping them inside of the Sword of Souls. And this was the case for a majority of the season. However, towards the end of the season, we learn that if someone is hit by the Sword of Souls, then it means that they will get trapped inside of the Sword of Souls. And this led a lot of Ninjago fans to ask the question, if Nauticon could just trap the ninja in the Sword of Souls by hitting them with it, then how come he didn't just do this all throughout the events of the season? And like I said, this is a piece of criticism for Skybound that I've never really understood, mainly because the season makes it pretty clear why Nauticon doesn't do this kind of thing. So, for starters, we need to ask ourselves a question. Why exactly is Nauticon fighting against the ninja in the first place during Skybound? Well, this is revealed towards the end of episode 3, Encrypted. Towards the end of this episode, we learn about the destruction of Jinjago, Nauticon's home realm, and we learn that the reason why Jinjago is being destroyed was because of the destruction of the Cursed Realm, which happened at the end of Season 5 as a result of Nia unlocking her true potential and her drowning the Preeminent with a tidal wave. As a result of the destruction of the Cursed Realm, it led to the destruction of Jinjago because these two realms are sister realms. And so in Nauticon's mind, the ninja are responsible for the destruction of his home because they were the ones who destroyed the Cursed Realm. So when it comes to Nauticon, the reason why he's fighting against the ninja is because he wants to get revenge on them. As Nauticon says during this episode, quote, "The ninja will pay for what they have done," and he also says, quote, "Actions have consequences." And when it comes to these two lines, the two of them both relate into why Nauticon has the ninja wish themselves into the Sword of Souls, and why he doesn't just strike the ninja down with the sword in order to trap them inside of it. Remember, when it comes to Nauticon, he wants to get revenge on the ninja. However, that's not it. In addition to him wanting to get revenge on the ninja, Nauticon also wants the ninja to suffer. Because remember, in Nauticon's mind, the ninja are responsible for the destruction of his home. And this is the reason why Nauticon does all the stuff that he does during the events of the season. He has the ninja use their wishes in order to put themselves into these really bad situations. Situations that will make them suffer. However, as a result of them suffering, Nauticon is able to get something out of this in one way or another, either with him being able to grant another wish, thus meaning that the ninja will then suffer even more, or if the ninja end up using their final wish, then they will end up wishing it all away, and they will be trapped inside the Sword of Souls, as a way for the ninja to essentially end their suffering by them essentially being put into another form of suffering that benefits Nauticon yet again. And that's essentially the entire reason why Nauticon is doing all the stuff that he's doing during the season. He wants the ninja to suffer, which is why he doesn't just use the Sword of Souls and strike the ninja down with it, because while yes, he could just do that, Nauticon doesn't want to do that. He wants to get revenge on the ninja for what they've done, and he wants to see the ninja suffer. Because again, in Nanakon's mind, the ninja are responsible for the destruction of his home. However, that's not all, because something else that I want to bring up when it comes to this is that when it comes to Nanakon having the ninja use their wishes in order to get themselves trapped inside the Sword of Souls, this also relates into a very big thing when it comes to Nanakon's character, which is him manipulating people. When it comes to Nanakon, he is definitely a manipulator, and when it comes to Nanakon, he does whatever he can in order to try and trick people, usually into them using some kind of wish that will benefit him in one way or another. And this is something that we constantly see all throughout the season with different characters like Kai, Zane, Jay, and more. When it comes to Nanakon, he tricks all these different characters into using their wishes, also that way they will be put into these bad situations that will be able to benefit Nanakon in one way or another. And again, as a result of Nanakon doing this, the ninja end up suffering even more, thus meaning that they will eventually have to wish it all away, and that is how they end up getting trapped inside of the Sword of Souls. And so when it comes to this whole situation, Nanakon essentially puts the ninja into this very interesting scenario where, as a result of the ninja's wishes, they are essentially the ones responsible for putting themselves into these bad situations, and they are essentially the ones responsible for trapping themselves inside of the sword, because they're the ones who are wishing it all away in the first place, and they're the ones who are making the wishes in the first place, and Nanakon is just allowing this stuff to happen, which only just contributes to the ninja's suffering, thus meaning that Nanakon is able to get even more revenge on the ninja. However, that's not all, because there's a couple of other things that I want to bring up when it comes to Nanakon doing this. So, for starters, when it comes to the ninja wishing everything away so they will get trapped inside the Sword of Souls, at the end of the episode Wishmasters, we see just how angry Nanakon gets after he learns that Lloyd and Cole used up all their wishes. Because remember, when it comes to Nanakon, he wanted the ninja to be the ones to wish everything away so they would get trapped inside the Sword of Souls. And when Nanakon realizes that Clancy hasn't used any of his wishes, Nanakon essentially threatens and forces Clancy to use one of his wishes in order to trap Lloyd and Cole inside of the sword. And we see just how angry Nanakon is as a result of this, because again, Nanakon specifically wanted the ninja to be the ones to wish everything away, and he didn't want to have someone else do it, or he didn't want to just trap the ninja by striking them down with a sword. He wanted the ninja to wish everything away, thus relating back into what I said earlier about why Nanakon doesn't just use the sword to strike down the ninja in order to trap them inside of it. And finally, one last thing that I wanted to bring up, but when it comes to Nanakon having a ninja wish everything away so they will get trapped inside the Sword of Souls and Nanakon not just striking them down with the sword, that is literally the entire premise of the episode My Dinner with Nanakon. This entire episode revolves around Nanakon doing whatever he can to try and break Jay, and him constantly putting Jay into all of these really terrible scenarios all throughout the episode, all in the hopes that Jay will eventually break and wish everything away. Yes, Nanakon could just use the sword and trap Jay inside of it. However, again, when it comes to Nanakon, he doesn't do that because he wants Jay to suffer and he wants Jay to be the one to wish everything away. And this is also the big reason why Nanakon gets really angry at Jay all throughout the episode, because no matter what Nanakon does, Jay refuses to wish everything away. And we see Nanakon get more and more angry as a result of this, with him making Jay doing increasingly worse stuff as time goes on, with him doing whatever he can to try and break Jay and make him suffer even more, all in the hopes that he will eventually say that he wants to wish everything away, but again, Jay never does this. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Now, like I said towards the beginning of the video, personally, I've never really understood this piece of criticism when it came to Skybound, mainly because I feel like when it comes to Nanakon not just striking the ninja down with a sword, I feel like that's something that makes sense given the stuff that we saw with Nanakon's character during the events of Skybound. In addition to this though, I also feel like Nanakon using the ninja's wishes against them and him having the ninja wish everything away instead of Nanakon just using the sword to strike them down and trapping them inside of it, I honestly feel like that makes Nanakon much more interesting as a villain, mainly because while Nanakon could take the easy route by just using the Sword of Souls and trapping the ninja inside of it just by striking them down with it, instead Nanakon does what he can to put the ninja into these really bad situations in order to do whatever he can to make the ninja suffer. Also, that way, when they end up making their wish to wish it all away, it just causes the ninja to suffer even more, with them getting trapped inside the Sword of Souls. And again, personally, I feel like this just makes Nanakon a much more interesting and compelling antagonist, given the lengths that Nanakon is willing to go to get revenge on the ninja, and the lengths that he's willing to go in order to make the ninja suffer. And again, it's something that I personally find to be pretty interesting. And so that's pretty much all I got for you guys. So tell me down below what do you guys think. Tell me, what are your guys' thoughts on this piece of criticism when it comes to Skybound? Tell me down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Later, guys. This is Dimension Master Studios, signing off.